Alright, so decide I'm going to go ahead and start my doing my review videos like I said I would. This video is going to be, in my review videos, about masternode coins. Specifically, the coin I'm going to talk about is Arctic coin. So, like I explained in my previous video, why do masternodes? Because, Dash made it popular, and basically the idea is passive income. You run a masternode for the network to help secure the network, maintain the network, and, whatnot. And you get rewarded by getting a payment for the masternode out of any transactions or blocks. Well, more usually blocks that are mined. You get a portion of that reward. Excuse me. So, Arctic coin is the one I'm going to start with. Why am I starting with this one? Well, simple reason, because it's probably the absolutely cheapest masternode you can get into whatsoever. The cost for one Arctic coin right now is hovering around 7 cents. The required coins for a masternode is 1,000 coins. So, the coin is insanely cheap. The required supply is insanely cheap. So I don't know if this is accurate or not. It might be, but yeah, the current price for a masternode is like, I don't know, like less than $100, pretty much. Anyone will tell you for a masternode that is crazy cheap. I mean, I don't know the exact price of all of these here, but I know some of these are at least pretty accurate. As far as like what the cost for a masternode would be. Like this like I know Linda costs like a ton of coins, so yeah, a node's like 10 grand or something like that. You know, like digital price, yeah, over 20,000 coins, $1,000. Actually, $1,000 is considered cheap compared to some, sad to say. But anyway, I digress. Arctic coin is probably the cheapest you can get as far as a masternode goes. So, what is it? What's the story? Is it worth getting into? What are my personal thoughts about it? Uh, first of all, they talk about the return on investment. They say you can expect to make 11 cents a day, 78 cents a week, $3 a month, $40 a year. I guess roughly, I'd say that's accurate. For now. I'm assuming they must have averaged this out here because you don't get paid every day. The way Arctic Coin does it is you get paid in kind of like a lump sum type deal. Every couple of days you'll get a payment of like 6 Arctic coins or 5 or 7. I think my last one was 8, oddly enough. Um, so yeah, I mean, the main thing is, I will be completely honest, going right off the bat here. You're not really gonna make money with this one. Largely just because of the fact that with Arctic Coin, they want you to maintain. All the instructions I've seen have been to create this on a VPS. If you know what a VPS is, it's called Virtual Private Server. Basically, all it is you're renting a computer from somebody else, like Vulture here, for instance. You sign up with one of these services. They have a computer in the cloud. You rent a computer from them and you run your node off of that. And then all you do is you point the node in such a way that it points to a wallet on your PC to verify you have that 1000 ARC, and that'll allow the node to work for you. So the problem with this is you're pretty much just breaking even. Yeah, I'm actually kind of losing money on this one because I set mine up on Linode, which is like $5 a month, opposed to Vulture here, which is like $2.50 a month. And I've just been too lazy to change it because it's $2 or whatever, so I don't even care at this point. But yeah, I don't know how accurate that is, but basically, yeah, you're not going to be making a lot of money with this one as it stands currently. Now, does that make Arctic Coin a bad idea to get into? Well, that depends on your personal opinion. Um, if you feel confident in the coin, if you feel confident that the price is going to rise, then now would be a good time to get in. If you don't feel so confident, maybe not, because one thing to keep in mind is the way payments work for any of these masternode coins is they are split between all the masternodes on the network. So the more master nodes there are in the network, usually the lower payouts there are, unless there's some massive change with the with the mining power in the network, but that's unlikely. Um, now, now, before I make any final decision, though, let me go and explain a couple things about the coin. There's been a little bit of controversy surrounding this coin here. This coin, it is a fork of Dash. If you're not familiar with what that means, basically, like, a lot of the altcoins, as we call them, are a fork of a really popular coin. Actually, I think this one is a fork of Dash. I'm 99% sure, which basically means they took like the publicly available code for the Dash coin and they altered it to create this coin. So this is some of the specifications of how it works. It originally launched back in 2015. It uses the I originally used script. I believe it uses X11. Mining code now generates a new block every 2.5 minutes. It's supposed to have like instant send to help verify transactions instantly, retargets using this dark gravity wave, which, from what I understand, that just means that the difficulty readjusts itself more fluent, like, it readjusts difficulty better than like it did with Bitcoin, for instance, or something like that. This will be the decrease in number of coins, total number of coins to the network. They're going to do a decentralized masternode network, and here's the reward model. They mentioned, 45% goes to the miners, 45% to master gold mine nodes or master nodes, 10% to a fund for the project development there. Now, from what I understand, this is a Russian-made coin. So I'm just going to say that off the bat. I think that's where there's a lot of controversy around this coin and like the Discord channel. I spent a lot of time trolling Discord and Slack for coins I'm invested in one way or another, which if you're invested in any coin, and you have a real interest in it, regardless if you have 10 coins or 1,000 coins or a masternode or you're mining, whatever, I highly suggest you check out the social channels for it, the Slack, the Discord, the forums. Get a feel for the community, get a feel for what's going on. And Arctic Coin, while they have a loyal community, there's been a lot of discontent within the community. And I think a lot of that stems from the fact, like I said, this is a Russian-made coin. So the impression I get, they do have a guy who's in the Discord channel a lot, and he's always he's not a developer, but he's like one of those go-betweens, which I see a lot of cryptocurrencies using now. Instead of having like an actual developer babysit the social channels, they'll have someone who works closely with the developers and will kind of get information from the community back to the devs and the news from the devs, to the community. And that's an important thing to reassure the community, because that's your investors, basically. Reassure them about that your project is moving along as planned. And that's the biggest problem, is I don't think there's good communication from Arctic Coin to the community. I get the impression part of it is because in the accounts of Russian-speaking coins, some people have said that on the Russian side of the world and the Russian channels, the devs are much more interactive, with the Russian speakers, because that's their native language. And whereas the guy who maintains the American-speaking channel, like the Discord channel, he's a really nice guy. He's good at talking to us and, trying to keep us informed. I just don't think there's a lot of info to be passed around because of that loss in translation of language barrier. Supposedly they're working to fix that. So I think that if you've heard negative stuff about Arctic Coin, I think that's where a lot of that comes from. Let's see here. So there's a lot of stuff floating around on the web there. Like, I was looking around. I found this article here on Steemit. I'll link to it if you want, and he talks about, the developers and the fan base and, why people are invested in Arctic Coin and his conclusion that it's here to stay. Really, this doesn't tell you anything, to be totally honest with you. This didn't tell me a thing. And he lists the roadmap. This is kind of what I'm talking about with not being clear, because you look at the roadmap and you don't really feel like it tells you a whole lot. First quarter, bonus program. Second quarter, special fund. Third quarter, bounty programs, website updates, full English support in the third quarter, mobile wallet, expand Articoin, optimize wallet, development of app with Articoin and reward program. So, it's just basically look at it and you're like, okay, they're going to have a fund, they're going to work in the site, they're going to make an iOS, they're going to put in some exchanges, but it's all very vague in general. And a lot of people keep complaining that, the devs aren't responsive, they're not doing anything, they're not giving us any updates, and I don't know. I kind of get it. Like, I kind of get it on the one hand. Like, there's one guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's very active on Discord, and he was one of the most heavily invested in Articoin. He had like 50 masternodes or something like that, and he did admit that he just felt kind of tired from the lack of direct response from the devs, because right now we should be at the point, where they're, where we get full English support, and then, we should be at this point where they're doing the development of the, mobile wallet, iOS, desktop, and all that stuff. They say they're working on it. I think they actually did finish the iOS desktop wallet. But again, we're not getting any direct information from the devs about what's going on and where they're at. And I know this guy was someone who's very active in the community, was very helpful to people. He'd help people constantly setting masternodes, and he finally said he's tired of it. He says he's rolled back his investment, sold some of his coins or something like that, and rolled back from 50 to 30 masternodes. So obviously he's still invested in the project. But I think it goes to show that there is a lack of communication that's kind of frustrating some of the people, at least here on the US side, or the English-speaking side. And it's understandable too, like, some stuff does look kind of weird. Like, if you look at, like, the GitHub, for instance, you see stuff hasn't been updated in a couple of months here, well, several months, aside from the roadmap most recently. They did release this in the chat, but, again, well, this is just a cool logo, actually. This is stuff that's talking about that fund that they mentioned. But I'll be honest, looking at it, I don't know what the heck any of this means. It's like, entries carried out into something, money for someone you invite. I guess this is part of that bonus program they're talking about. The only thing I get is this slide here that they provided, where basically it looks like they're saying that you can stake your coins to go ahead and get a return on your investment. Which this is something that the guy who maintains the American Discord channels had talked about that they were interested in doing, was giving people an incentive to go ahead and hold on to their coins to get, interest on it. So I guess this is something I don't know if it's been rolled out, but they're looking to roll it out soon. That's kind of the thing that's hard. That's the only hard part of this coin. Like, I heard about this stuff, like you can stake it or something like that. You can get a, interest on your balance. But, I'm never clear on, like, okay, is this a feature that's already active, or are they rolling this out in a new wallet? It's just not the best communication there. But still, it's interesting features. It's Articoin, they have it listed in a lot of exchanges, which it is. They mentioned Livecoin, CCX, Cryptopia, or CryptoShare, Cryptopia, Y-Pool, or no, that's a pool, sorry, a mining pool. But you look at it, the volume of the coin isn't anything to get excited over. I mean, almost $2,000 on Cryptopia, 1,600 on Livecoin, 500 on Yobit, which that might as well not count because no one counts Yobit. They're terrible. Never use them, please. So, between three exchanges, they got about $2,000 worth of volume daily, which is obviously not all that impressive, but it's something. So, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place here. What are my thoughts with this one? Articoin is very interesting. Let me share something with you that was put up in the chat recently. recently this guy posted this kind of long rant, saying that the devs have zero communication and whatnot. And the guy in the American channel, he kind of addressed it with this here. It's basically what he said. And he's like, he just basically said, I've been saying was, look, they're developing the coin. Their big thing is that they're working in the Russian communities first. Then they're gonna go ahead and work on it in the English communities. It's just the issues or the barriers from working in two languages at the same time. People are complaining about a pump, but that isn't really the devs' fault. As you can see, Arctic Coin is pumped before here in the past. People are complaining about that. That is ignorant in my opinion, just because you have developers that will manipulate coin prices, but unless you have proof of it, you can't blame the dev. Like Chaincoin, for instance, I don't believe that had anything to do with the devs. Completely believe that was outside forces pumping the coin to make a profit off of it. It happens, Welcome to cryptocurrency. But yeah, he goes on to address some of these things. He says there's not been zero communication. He says especially for Russian speakers. They've been working on it, and they're getting more English-speaking developers. The guy complained there's no social media presence. He's like, they just posted something on Twitter recently, which they did. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. And he's talking about, there's no updates in GitHub, which is true. It's kind of lacking, but they are working on new stuff, which I think is true because they do have a Mac wallet, on the website now, and I think that was something recent. He's talking about complaints about the roadmap and points out the roadmap is just a guideline. It's not a full list here. Basically just picks apart each complaint there. And I think he does pretty good, a pretty good job at addressing it overall. If you care to see, where's my Discord? This is kind of like a detailed, yeah, I'm in way too much stuff here. This is kind of like a detailed thing, going into like kind of a deeper idea behind some of the stuff on the roadmap there. So, they're talking about, what is it that makes Arctic Coin stand out? This was translated from Russian to English, so again, that language barrier. So if this translation seems a little weird, that's why, it went through Google Translator. Basically, they're talking about, they pulled together a team of developers in a short time. They switched from script to that new mining algorithm X11. I guess they felt that would make it more accessible. They increased the transaction speed, on the network. They're improving wallet software, including the wallet app for the Mac OS. Talking about their plans and what it is that they want to do. This is kind of long-winded here, but basically the long story short of this whole paragraph is they're saying they want to create some kind of unique app for Arctic Coin to make it stand out and make it stand different, which kind of falls in line with that roadmap, where they're talking about development of an app with an Arctic Coin reward program. It's kind of vague, but apparently they want to make some kind of multi-purpose, multi-use app that people will be able to use for functions in their daily lives and integrate Arctic Coin into it. They say they're going to keep an eye out for other trends and other ways they can integrate it into stuff there. It's just more stuff about, how it's going over there in Russia. And, oh yeah, here's the other interesting point they brought up, is that they're supposed to be working on they say they're working on a big project where they want to integrate Arctic Coin into the tracking of food. Again, not very clear on this, but basically they're saying you'll be able to get very fine-grained details about your food, which farm was your tomato seeds planted at, who caught your tuna, basically from source to the store, where did your food come from, where was it sourced in a way that you're comfortable with, and they're talking about how, they're looking to grow the masternode network. Supposedly they're in the works of getting listed on new exchanges by the end of this year. They say that there's a new exchange coming. I completely forgot the name of it now, but apparently it's not a common exchange that everyone knows about. It's like a brand new thing that's just opening. I forgot if they said they're involved in the creation of this exchange or not, but Articoin is going to be listed, supposedly in this new exchange in the near future here, and Bittrex. They also say they've been greenlit to be on Bittrex by end of like quarter 2014, fourth quarter 2017, sorry, to first quarter 2018, somewhere within that time frame. Um, so what are my final thoughts with Articoin here? I think Articoin is very... I wonder if that was it, the crypto Shah. I don't think that was the new exchange they were talking about, though. Maybe it is. I don't know. So it's my thoughts on Articoin. Articoin is interesting. Basically, if you're going to get into it now, just keep in mind you're not really getting into it to make a profit. Because again, even if you get, if you're doing like me and have it on a VPS that's $5 a month, you're actually losing money according to this, which is probably accurate. Oh yeah, and if you're curious to see, these are what the masternode payments look like. As you can see. So you see, I keep my Articoin locally on my PC here in this wallet, and then I have a VPS I connect to through Putty. I can pull that up to show if you want. Basically, I use this program to command line into a Ubuntu VPS and, go ahead and run it that way. And then every couple of days, I get a payout, as you can see, 5, 6, 7, 8 ARC. I don't know why it's going up. It technically should be the same, or probably going down since there's more masternodes in the network there, but whatever, I'll take it. But yeah, keep that in mind. If you're getting into this coin, you're getting into it because you believe in the coin and you think it's going to have future growth. You want to practice setting up a masternode on a Ubuntu server or Ubuntu VPS server because that's what you need to do for a lot of them. Some of them you can set up locally on your PC, but a lot of them they prefer for you to set it up on a VPS. That's just the way they want it. You just want the practice, something like that. Like if someone came to me and they're like, you know what, Curtis, this, $100 is my last $100, what should I, invest it in as far as cryptos go? Probably the first thing I'd say is, well, obviously you shouldn't put that into cryptos just because it's risky. And, but, that aside, Articoin to me, it's not one of those things. I don't feel like this is 100% sure bet. Or as 100% sure as I can be. My money I have in, Ethereum, for instance, I feel confident that will go up. I have no doubt. Articoin, I'm, 50-50. Okay, I wouldn't say that. I'm more like 70-30. Overall, I think that it's a good project. It sounds like they have a good team. I think they just lack good communication. So maybe I'll say 60-40. I'm more confident than I'm not confident. I think they just lack good communication, which is unfortunate because the truth is when you're building a good coin, good communication with your community is key in order to keep them interested, keep them reassured, keep them engaged, and also, to draw in new people. And I don't blame that for the mod/admin for the American channel. I think he's doing a pretty great job. I think it's more just the actual core team isn't doing a good job at providing him with the information he needs, or, doing a better job at translating that information from Russian to English so we have more precise information instead of very generalized information, like this roadmap and a lot of stuff they've given us. It's just always usually very general without exact specific dates or times, and that's why people are getting a little fussy. But I don't see Articoin redefining anything. Are these features cool? Some of them, yeah. I find the idea of this multi-purpose application to be interesting. I think they've been talking about other stuff they want to implement. I think this is supposed to have, instant send, but also some ability to help hide transactions in the network and stuff like that, or they're going to implement that. So there's different stuff they're putting into it. If they succeed in this stuff here, I definitely can see the value of Arctic Coin going up long term, and that's what I'm personally banking on. I'm going to keep my masternode going. I might even build, another one or two, because I have enough Arctic that I could build a couple more. Um, but basically, I'm not counting on getting rich off of this one. That's the way I see it. This one is a little bit more of a gamble to me. I'm still more optimistic than I am negative about it, but I'm also realistic that if they roll this stuff out, I see the value of it going up, but I don't ever see it going like super high. This isn't a coin that I see hitting $100 or something like that. I could be wrong. You never know. That's just my personal thought. And as always, I forgot to say at the beginning of the video, but keep in mind this is not financial advice or anything like that. Usual legal disclaimer, just my own personal opinion about what I'm doing and, what you can do with that information there. So yeah, I think this coin will be profitable in the long run. I'm going to go ahead and keep it and stick with it and see what happens. I think they have a roadmap. I think they're working on it. I do think their communication is lacking, unfortunately, and it's too bad because there are other coins I've invested in with really good communication that I love how well they talk to the community. But I don't think that alone makes it so that this coin is a scam or, pump and dump or whatever people want to say. I think it's a legitimate project that I think long term it will see some growth and we'll see some good things out of it. So that is my thought on Arctic Coin overall. Feel free to research it, look into it, and decide what you want to do there. If you do decide you want to create a masternode, do keep in mind that, like I said, you're probably going to be setting up on a Linux, virtual private server on the internet. That's not as bad as it sounds, because if you join their chat on Discord here, you go to the masternode area. Yeah, if I could find it. Oh yeah, it's under pinned messages. They have all these guides here, step by step. Like they had YouTube guides and PDFs and stuff like that, telling you the exact commands you got to put in to go ahead and create that masternode there. Arctic Coin's a little bit different. It's one of those coins where they're going for quantity. That's why the entry point is so comparatively low compared to other masternodes where you only need 1,000 coins, opposed to somewhere you need 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever. There's a debate about what's better. Is it better to have fewer masternodes with larger collateral? Because presumably, larger collateral means people will be more interested. Maybe they'll be more well-trained or versed in Linux. Maybe they'll more know what they're doing. So that could arguably make the network more secure. Or is it better to have a lower threshold and more masternodes? Because presumably, the bigger the network, the more masternodes, the more secure the network is. I don't know. That's a debate that'll probably go on eternally as long as we have masternodes here. But yeah, keep that in mind. It's going to take a little bit of command line programming, which maybe I'll show you what that looks like sometime. It's really not all that bad. Like I said, if you look at the PDF here, this is the PDF, and it gives you all the instructions to walk through. And a lot of these, commands, you can just copy and paste. It looks like a lot, but I did it, and I don't know anything about Linux. It's really not that bad. If you get stuck, you can join the Discord channel, ask questions. The community there is pretty helpful. So that's just a heads up. If you are totally, completely not comfortable at all doing stuff like that, command line style in Linux, don't even bother touching this one, because as far as I know, that's really the only way to program it. But, if playing around with that doesn't bother you, which, I don't think it should, 'cause it's pretty easy, then, feel free. So, yeah. End of the day, like I said, this one, you're not really looking to make a profit right now, maybe not even anytime in the near future. This is definitely like a long-term thing. You're trying to get in early on. That's what I'm trying to do. That I think long-term, however many months from now, it'll end up being profitable. We'll see. If you have any thoughts, questions, or opinions, please feel free to let me know. Look forward to seeing you in my next video.